Dorothy Fiorenza was a law student with dreams of becoming a successful attorney. Then she met Andrew Russo at a Christmas party. He was wealthy, powerful, and sophisticated. He was also a high-ranking member of New York's Colombo crime family. Dorothy fell for the Mafia boss despite the 30-year age gap between them. Their secret affair gave her access to a dangerous world of organized crime. She passed messages for him, kept his secrets, and became invaluable to his criminal operations. But when the relationship soured, Dorothy made a choice that would change everything. She became an FBI informant and testified against the man she once loved. This is her shocking true story. Dorothy Fiorenza was a hardworking cosmetologist in New York during the 1990s. She cut hair and styled clients, but she wanted more from life. Dorothy dreamed of becoming a lawyer, of having prestige and respect. At 32 years old, she decided to pursue that dream. She enrolled in law school while continuing to work. The path wasn't easy, balancing work, school, and studying consumed her life. But Dorothy was determined. She attended classes, studied late into the night, and pushed herself toward her goal. She wanted to escape the working-class life she knew and enter a world of power and influence. Little did Dorothy know that her ambition would lead her into a relationship with one of New York's most dangerous criminals and change her life forever. In December 1995, Dorothy attended a Christmas party in New York. It was a social gathering filled with well-dressed people, holiday cheer, and festive atmosphere. There, she met Andrew Russo. He was in his 60s, distinguished, and exuded confidence and power. Andrew was charming and attentive to the young law student. They talked, laughed, and connected. Dorothy was drawn to his sophistication and the aura of authority he carried. What Dorothy didn't fully understand at the time was exactly who Andrew Russo was. He wasn't just a successful businessman. Andy "Mush" Russo was a high-ranking member of the Colombo crime family, one of New York's 5 major mafia organizations. That chance meeting at a Christmas party would pull Dorothy into a dangerous world. Andrew Russo, known in the underworld as Andy Mush, was a powerful figure in organized crime. He had been involved with the Colombo crime family for decades. By the 1990s, Andrew held a position of significant authority within the organization. He had survived the violent mafia wars of earlier decades and maintained his power through cunning, violence, and loyalty to the family. Andrew was connected to numerous illegal activities including extortion, racketeering, loan sharking, and more. He had been arrested multiple times over the years but had always managed to avoid lengthy prison sentences. Now in his 60s, Andrew was a veteran of the mob life. He was wealthy, connected, and dangerous. And he was about to begin an affair with a woman 30 years his junior. Despite the age difference, Dorothy and Andrew began a romantic relationship. For Dorothy, Andrew represented everything she aspired to: wealth, power, sophistication. He took her to nice restaurants, treated her well, and made her feel special. Andrew was generous and attentive. Dorothy was drawn deeper into his world. She knew he was involved in organized crime, but the danger seemed exciting rather than frightening. The affair was conducted in secret. Andrew was still married, and their relationship had to remain hidden. Dorothy became his mistress, his confidant, someone he trusted. She was falling in love with a mafia boss, and the relationship was intoxicating. But Dorothy was also still pursuing her law degree, studying hard and taking her bar exam. The two worlds were about to collide. In the late 1990s, Dorothy achieved her dream. She passed the New York State bar exam and became a licensed attorney. It was a significant accomplishment, the result of years of hard work and determination. Dorothy could now practice law. But this achievement also made her more valuable to Andrew Russo in ways she hadn't anticipated. As a lawyer, Dorothy had privileges and access that most people didn't. She could visit prisons and jails under the guise of attorney-client privilege. She could pass through security with minimal scrutiny. Andrew immediately recognized how useful this could be. His son, Joseph "Jojo" Russo, was incarcerated and awaiting trial on racketeering charges. Andrew needed a way to communicate with his son without prison officials intercepting messages. Dorothy's new legal status made her the perfect courier. Dorothy began visiting Joseph "Jojo" Russo in prison, passing herself off as his legal counsel even though she wasn't officially representing him. During these visits, she would carry messages from Andrew to his incarcerated son. The messages often contained instructions about criminal operations, legal strategies, and family business. Dorothy was now actively participating in organized crime, facilitating communication between two high-ranking Mafia members. She passed through prison security with relative ease because of her status as an attorney. Guards had little reason to suspect that a young female lawyer was acting as a mob messenger. Dorothy rationalized her actions. She was helping the man she loved maintain contact with his son. But legally, she was committing serious crimes: obstruction of justice, conspiracy, and violating attorney ethics rules. As Dorothy's involvement with Andrew deepened, she became more entrenched in his criminal world. She attended social gatherings with organized crime figures. She heard conversations about illegal activities. She knew about crimes being planned and committed. Dorothy was no longer just having an affair with a mobster, she was becoming complicit in mob activities. She carried messages, kept secrets, and maintained the facade that she was simply Andrew's girlfriend. But the FBI was watching. Federal investigators had been monitoring the Colombo crime family for years. They conducted surveillance, wiretaps, and built cases against various members. Dorothy didn't realize it yet, but her relationship with Andrew had put her directly in the crosshairs of a federal investigation. Her life was about to become far more complicated and dangerous. Despite their affair, Dorothy's relationship with Andrew began to deteriorate. She was still relatively young and wanted a more conventional life. Andrew was in his 60s and fully committed to the mob life. Dorothy met and fell in love with another man, Larry "Tattoo" Fiorenza, a lower-ranking member of organized crime. Unlike Andrew, Larry was closer to Dorothy's age and offered the possibility of a real relationship and perhaps even marriage. Dorothy chose Larry over Andrew. This decision infuriated Andrew Russo. In the Mafia world, loyalty is everything, and Dorothy's choice to leave him for another man, especially a lower-ranking mobster, was seen as disrespectful and insulting. Andrew's anger turned to threats. Dorothy began to fear for her safety. She realized she knew too much about Andrew's operations and that scorned Mafia bosses were dangerous enemies to have. Dorothy's fear grew as Andrew's anger intensified. She heard rumors that Andrew wanted revenge for her betrayal. In the mob world, such threats were not idle, they often ended in violence. Dorothy realized she was in serious danger. She had been carrying messages for a Mafia boss, had intimate knowledge of criminal operations, and had angered a powerful man who could easily have her killed. Dorothy faced a terrible choice: remain silent and hope Andrew's anger faded, or seek protection by cooperating with law enforcement. The decision was agonizing. Becoming an informant against the mob was incredibly dangerous. The Mafia had a long history of killing rats. But staying silent might cost her life anyway. Ultimately, Dorothy's survival instinct won. She contacted federal prosecutors and offered to cooperate against Andrew Russo and the Colombo crime family. In the late 1990s, Dorothy Fiorenza made the decision that would define the rest of her life: she became a government informant. She met with FBI agents and federal prosecutors, telling them everything she knew about Andrew Russo's operations. Dorothy provided details about the messages she had carried between Andrew and his son. She described conversations she had overheard about criminal activities. She offered to testify in court about what she had witnessed. Federal investigators were thrilled. Dorothy's testimony could help them build strong cases against multiple members of the Colombo crime family. But they also knew Dorothy's life was now in grave danger. She would need protection, new identity, and constant security. Dorothy entered the Witness Protection Program. Her old life was over. She could never return to her normal existence in New York. With Dorothy's cooperation, federal investigators intensified their investigation into the Colombo crime family. They used her testimony to obtain additional warrants for surveillance and wiretaps. They corroborated her information with other evidence they had gathered. The case against Andrew Russo and other family members strengthened significantly. Prosecutors prepared to bring racketeering charges under the RICO Act, the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act designed specifically to combat organized crime. The charges against Andrew included extortion, loan sharking, conspiracy, and using Dorothy to pass illegal communications to his incarcerated son. Joseph "Jojo" Russo also faced additional charges related to the message-passing scheme. The federal government was building a comprehensive case aimed at dismantling the leadership of the Colombo crime family. And Dorothy Fiorenza would be their star witness, testifying against her former lover. The trial of Andrew Russo and other Colombo family members began in federal court. It was a high-profile case that attracted significant media attention. The courtroom was filled with prosecutors, defense attorneys, defendants in suits, and federal marshals providing security. Dorothy Fiorenza took the witness stand, facing the man she had once loved. Andrew sat at the defense table, his face hardened as he watched his former girlfriend testify against him. Dorothy described their relationship, her role as a messenger between Andrew and his son, and the criminal activities she had witnessed. Defense attorneys aggressively cross-examined her, attacking her credibility and suggesting she was lying for immunity and witness protection. But Dorothy's testimony was detailed and credible. She had dates, specific conversations, and corroborating evidence that made her account compelling to the jury. After weeks of testimony and evidence presentation, the jury deliberated on the charges against Andrew Russo and his co-defendants. The evidence was overwhelming. Not just Dorothy's testimony but also wiretaps, surveillance footage, and testimony from other witnesses. The jury returned with guilty verdicts on multiple counts. Andrew Russo was convicted of racketeering, extortion, and conspiracy charges. He faced decades in federal prison. His son Joseph also faced additional time for the illegal communication scheme. Other Colombo family members received similar convictions. The federal government had scored a major victory against organized crime. Dorothy's testimony had been crucial to securing these convictions. She had helped put away dangerous criminals, including the man she once loved. But her victory came at an enormous personal cost that would last the rest of her life. Dorothy Fiorenza's life after testifying was forever changed. She remained in the Witness Protection Program, living under a new identity in an undisclosed location. She could never return to New York, never contact old friends or family members, never practice law under her real name. The career she had worked so hard to build was over. Her relationship with Larry Fiorenza also ended, the stress and danger were too much. Dorothy lived in constant awareness that the Mafia had long memories and that informants were never truly safe. She had to be vigilant, always looking over her shoulder. The woman who had once dreamed of becoming a successful attorney now lived in anonymity and fear. Her cooperation with the government had saved her life but cost her everything else. She was alive but living as a ghost of her former self. The case of Dorothy Fiorenza and Andrew Russo serves as a cautionary tale about the seductive danger of organized crime. Dorothy was drawn to Andrew's power and sophistication, not fully understanding the consequences of becoming involved with a mafia boss. Her ambition and attraction led her into a world where loyalty meant everything and betrayal meant death. When she testified against Andrew, she helped law enforcement strike a blow against the Colombo crime family. But the personal cost was immense. She lost her identity, career, and normal life. Andrew Russo spent his final years in federal prison, dying behind bars in 2020. Dorothy remained somewhere in America under a new name, forever looking over her shoulder. Her story reminds us that the mob's world of power and money comes with deadly consequences. Subscribe for more true crime stories. Thanks for watching.